tryna take it down, placeful. You just scoring mines, best the bar.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming in February 19, 2020, and I got 3 stocks I'm going to be buying either tomorrow, the rest of the week, or even coming into next week, but they're at crucial levels, and I want to discuss why. If you don't want to wait, you can't wait. The stocks are going to be, well, shout out to NVDA, baby, NVDA gang, but TLT is one, but the main thing that we're going to talk about next to it is with some of the stuff that happened today, SCO and oil, how we're keeping a big eye on that, and then Yang, the China stock. So those are the 3 stocks. We'll go over the logic a little bit here, but I have the keys for tomorrow. Explain kind of what happened today. Today was also a very important day following the post-Apple guidance cut and kind of the effect on the markets. It was pretty interesting and pretty stable, but we will talk about that. I got a play that we made today and even some other plays that I'm looking at coming into the rest of this week, and we're going to even talk about some of that continuation on that NVIDIA. So you guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed, and if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. It's the first link in the description, and it is pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free $99. It costs you nothing. All we ask is that you are positive and respectful. You could get the free news scanner there, see what's happening, anything, post the plays. Oh, yes, but watch any of this happen live. Hopefully we see you there. Feel free to ask questions as well. And do not forget the most important thing you need to do. Post your watch list below. Let us know what you're looking at. You got any plays, comments, earnings plays. If you earn any of these continuations, you have any remixes, post them below. And we also, I forgot to say yesterday, we had the random account. We did that. I used another one of your comments. We grabbed those APPNs. So keep sourcing that info, baby. But let's get right into it. As far as the keys, and this is the main play even with SCO, this is why it's important, and I'm interested into watching this. If you have not been familiar, we've brought this up a few times. This is in purple, you have oil. This is oil futures overlaid with the S&P, or actually, no, that's Home Depot. Now it's the S&P. So this is what we're looking for, and this is kind of what we've been keeping the eye on as far as, you know, is the coronavirus and some of these economic factors or global economic factors, is that going to have an effect on the stock market? And where you gauging oil, you know, oil has a very important role here. So that's kind of the quick Spark Notes version of it. But now today, there was sanctions. The U.S. okayed sanctions today on Rosneft, which is the biggest oil producer in Russia. Now, this is kind of important, kind of not. It could play out with oil a few ways. This is why now SCO, the play, I'm even looking for that. I'm considering even playing both ways on it, doing a strangle, simply because it's kind of a toss-up how this is going to play out. It could potentially have a negative effect, and that's because, you know, even a few months ago or even about a year ago when the administration talked about doing this, people were worried about the fallout as far as oil price is concerned and what that could do to the economy. So this had some effect, but it could also now, in this case, with oil being down, if it makes a supply concern, this could help bring oil prices up. So it's an interesting time. We didn't see the market react too much to this, but I will definitely keep an eye on this. And again, it's just putting now more importance here on what we have going on with oil. The next thing I'm going to be watching here is TLT. It's at a crucial level along with some of those other stocks. Again, the 3 stocks I'm saying I'm looking at, but with bonds and what they're doing, they're at a all-time low in terms of yields. You're starting to see different parts of the yield curve invert again. This is important because if you guys know how I am, I just like these divergences. So the fact that you have bonds even doing that, it's acting out as an interesting phenomena you don't usually see. And even with divergences, now I switch this purple indicator here to the 10-year bond futures. And again, you've seen it where pretty much bonds start to go up when the market gets a lack of stability, and that's what you start to see here. But the fact is now you got them going up at the same time. So usually when the markets drop, that was the last time we started to see TLT and bond rates up at this high. So looking at TLT, I want to see how bonds are coming into all this because this has to do with the Fed and everything else. So I'm going to be watching TLT. And then lastly, just earnings next week is going to be important. So again, until something really pops off, the market is going to stay up in either this melt-up zone, or as we've been seeing now, we're still all-time highs, but we're not now breaking out and hitting, you know, other levels except for responding to some of the lows. So we might even start to stay on a range, and that could start to reflect to how we even played out in 2015. So it'll be interesting to see. But the key now moving forward is watching this stuff like TLT, and again, anything I'll call the pop-off indicators, and that's going to be looking at the yuan. If that's right at $7 there compared to the US dollar, if that starts to pop off and break out, that will be one of those negative signs. Or if the Shanghai composite goes down, and again, even today now at the markets, we went up today, or we we dropped, but then kind of came up. But you didn't see too many stock markets do as well. So I think only the FTSE ended up going up, but it wasn't too bad of a drop. Now, considering what happened with Apple, that was the first day after this guidance cut. They dropped. I think they were down like someone said 6% at one point. I don't think they dropped that much, but they were down like 3 or 4%, and then they ended up coming up. But you could still see a pretty decent gap down. But even on the daily, it's really not that bad. Again, just pretty much bringing them right back to their own little Wuhan zone. But China ended up not closing down. They kind of closed break even. So we want to see how other stock markets react if everything goes up or down. But again, now I'm still going to be watching oil and bonds. And if we see a large move in any of these, that's when it's going to start to see, okay, we should start to prepare for what's coming up with the corona. Otherwise, what's happening with the earnings might even be enough to take us to another level, or if it kind of eases concerns with even other future guidance and all that. But I am starting to get a little bit cautious here at these levels, but I do want to see how any of these indicators start to move. But that being said, let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, there's a few plays I want to discuss about. One, again, I'm going to be doing a strangle probably on SCO, and this is what I've noticed. SCO is a little bit worse because, again, oil's already made a move and it's kind of still in the trenches there, but I'm looking both ways of either the sanctions have a negative or positive impact, maybe even some iron condors. I need to check the premiums, but now you're even seeing, TLT's at a breakout point. It kind of looks like oil there. But then Yang, this is one I like too, considering, if we are going to play any of the concerns that we see going on with China, they've popped off and they've came down a little bit. So now these are those times now when we want to play some of these volatility indicators or some of these riskier ETFs, and they're risky because they have premium. They'll shoot up and they'll hold premium, but then once they drop, it kind of changes the future perspective. So I'm going to be looking at all three of those. Besides that, though, NVIDIA, this was the main play that I said yesterday, that we were even saying Friday. I was kind of expecting this. I was concerned because what happened with Apple, but thankfully AMD went crazy. Other chip makers like Qualcomm didn't do as good, but NVIDIA still did good, so this was good. And again, I was surprised because I thought Apple would bring it down, but they did do good. I'm going to be looking for more of a further continuation. They got a lot of price target upgrades, but anything above 300 I like. So what we did now, remember, we took profits on after the earnings on some of the shorter terms. I'm still holding those March 20th. So I have like 7 of those. They're worth now about like $350 each, and we bought those at 40 cents. So they're almost hitting that 1,000% mark on the Marches. But now our rollovers, because we got the ones expiring this week, and this week is a short week, we got these 315s, but our average is like 40 cents. So we were really down on them, but they came back. So these are going to be good to watch. And really, this is kind of my future plan. I made another play on it today. I'm keeping this rollover and secondary move in mind, and that is what I'm expecting. I think a move above 300 will be big. Again, assuming market conditions allow it and the market doesn't get upset by something, or even if it does, people kind of rotate to NVIDIA. We will see. But we bought these, so since these expire this week and we're negative on them, we were up like 80% the day before, and then they came down. If you guys remember that, they shot up, or we're up 100%. We got them at like 40 or so. So my plan is here, if these start to come up tomorrow, I want to get rid of these because they're running out of time. Even if NVIDIA goes up, 315 is a far way. It definitely could surprise, but these are a little further out there, or if we could ghetto spread them, that would be ideal. But now this is the play that I made today. I did a debit spread, and again, I'm a little cautious. I wanted to get a little bit more time, but I am cautious because the contracts are still pretty expensive. So I didn't want to spend too much. So what I did here was a debit spread. And since I didn't want to spend as much money, I still got further out the money. So again, we're holding March 320. So I got February 28, 320s. This is even further than the 315. But the key was I was able to get this for 30 cents. With a little bit of time, it's giving me some short-term exposure if NVIDIA does shoot up in surprise, as well as still have that our hands, firmly in the cookie jar with the Marches. But I bought this one for 86 cents, and then we sold the 330 for 37 cents. So it was like a $34 net difference, but now the bid and ask between these is about like 45 to 53. They went up about 44%. That's what I'm sitting on those. But as a max gain of $1,000, and it costs $34. So they're at like $40 now. But that's pretty much how I'm going to play this until, either end of the week, or if NVIDIA just kind of slows down and it stalls and we could, get a better price on some of these contracts, without capping them. But debit spreads sprinkling a little bit on some of the shorter terms until the Marches get a little bit cheaper or we sell out of those. That's kind of how I'm playing it, but I'm firmly looking for NVIDIA to make a big move. And if it doesn't, again, we're still playing with the profits on that other big play, but I will probably look to take some profit on that if it starts to go around 1,000%. It's about like 800, 900% now. And then that's why I do want to get these rollovers to get some of that exposure. So going to be watching those. I'm going to be, again, setting up and looking for that play. Apple, I might even look for a play on Apple. Again, I still have that play I was down on that. I just make my losses back, so I kind of have a permanent short position there. But I'm still holding those TLTs that we talked about yesterday. Those went up a little bit. Some people got those later in the day. I would wait a little bit, or if you are going to get the TLTs, use a smaller amount, and then you could always scale a little bit. And again, we got April, so you might be able to finesse a little bit on the Marches. But remember, the more time usually, the less they will appreciate. So you're going to see more volatility and premium in the shorter terms. So if you want to play it and you're too late and some of these plays go up, don't play them at all. Again, always paper trade two options trade shimlers. You can't lose all the financial advice. Please lose all financial advice. Educational purpose only. Thank you. But you could always protect yourself with a small balance or a small entry price, scale in, and then again, give it time. If it depreciates, you could always get back in. So watch that. I also want to watch Microsoft just because even if we are positioned on some of these plays, again, because all SCO, TLT, Yang, these are kind of negative on the market in general. And again, we only have bullishness in NVIDIA. I'm going to consider Microsoft. Remember, I've been saying, both on the put side, but also on the upside, because if they could kind of shake things off and things actually end up doing good and we do see earnings and a lot of things surprise, they're looking like the strongest candidate. So I want to see if even the calls got cheaper due to this last week, because this stalling out actually helps us playing both calls and puts. So watch that. Then I am going to keep my eye on UNH. They're still at 302, above 300 is important. It's going to be another weird game of musical chairs with them, but I'm going to be watching UNH. I really, really like them. I don't know why Chem is up here. I did not put that. That's not on my watch list, but going to watch HD. I'm thinking of doing a credit spread on them, considering it's a short week here. I might even want to do one of those weeklies tomorrow where there might be better premium that we could play, and I think the volatility is jacking up a lot of the contract prices. So I like HD even for that breakout mode. Even then, watch Walmart. They had their earnings. It wasn't too good. The volume wasn't too high, but I want to see how they start to move up now. Do they kind of catch up with the SPY? Do they start getting all-time highs or not? But this could be a prime continuation one. It's a slow mover, so keep an eye on it. McDonald's, too, didn't kind of move much. This would be the same logic as HD, but I want to see, though, do McDonald's and Home Depot actually start moving together? Then Roku, we have that put still, and those are pretty much dead, but Roku came down a lot today. It moved pretty high in the morning and started coming down, but this could be that continuation. Again, 120 is my danger zone, so I'm going to keep my eye on them. And even Shopify did good. Our contracts actually came back up, so watch them. Then watch Boeing. They dropped a decent amount today. I still think they're in a danger zone, but same logic as yesterday. Going to keep an eye on there. No play yet. And then MLNX, they went up after hours, but I think them alongside with XLNX, you saw what happened with that move, as well as now even NVIDIA. You're seeing a different rotation into some of these chip makers, but watch them. They've just had an interesting move. Just looking at the chart, just been shooting up and going in blocks. I don't know, buyout candidate. I don't know what is causing them, but I'm going to keep my eye on that for tomorrow, just with how strong it's looked today. Then finally, long-term in some other plays, I'm watching Qualcomm and Disney, not necessarily for long-term, but the earnings continuations and where they're at. I'm going to keep an eye on those and how they're both looking, but long-term now, we got our Abivai drip shares today. I love that. Snapchat dropped a lot, but then kind of came back up. It's moving in pretty big increments. It was down like 3% at one point. It closed down at 2%, so it was pretty bad, but, I still love that one. Still watching that. I don't think I'm going to add more yet. I'm still waiting on that, letting time be the judge. Same thing with Abivai, but the ones I do want to get for the long term, people are asking what I'm keeping my eye out for. Dividend stocks, I'm watching AT&T. I want to see, I'm going to try to time that towards the dividend or just see if it does get discounted, at a way too attractive price to pass up before then. And then same thing even with Altria. I'm waiting on those, but those are some of the ones I want to grab decent-sized positions in, or at least start to diversify towards that instead of some of the growth, which we're already up on a lot. So that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're hydrated, healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. Keep your helmet on. Keep it shining. I need you all in the game, baby. And remember, you need to encourage yourself. That's a skill. You got to get that skill. We're going on 5 weeks. Even if it's a short week, we got to snipe. We got to hunt, baby. Control the budgets. Control the balance. Checks and balance. Take profit. Then the NVIDIAs are paying. You got the money. Just take it and use it. Be smart and don't give it back, baby. Let's go!